다시 미래비지가야 오요마 아직 아까미래
There's just so many forces that are against us, you know, in terms of the outside world, you know, to eradicate, you know, the native cultures, you know, and the languages off the face of the earth. I mean, there's been definite things happened over the years, you know, that it has been tried, but we're still around, and you know, the more, you know, we're told not to speak our language or respect our culture, the more we do it. And I think that's good. You know, I'm sitting here right now as almost 80 years old. And I've been to the residential school. And I've been, you know, to the regular schools. And I'm not the only one either. There's a lot of us around, you know, that have not lost, you know, the language, you know, and I guess basically, you know, you could give credit, you know, to our parents, you know, that have spoken the language and insisted that their children, you know, like speak it and, you know, like keep it in the families, you know, and do everything, you know, that families can do to support, you know, the language in our homes. I think that's one of the, I think that's what the older people, you know, did over the years, you know, in our communities. The parents, you know, made it a point, you know, for their kids, you know, like it's right up there in the brain. It doesn't matter what happens, you know, like it can be done. And you have to just be strong, and it has to be, you have to be strong in the family. You know, that's where I think that's where it's going to be. I was 10 years old when I started speaking Mi'kmaq in the residential school. Couldn't speak a word of English when you went to the residential. 10 years old, never went to school. Except in Waikagama, you know, we used to have a little school, and we used to come here in the summertime when my father used to work. But there was no organization about schooling at all when I was 10 years old. So what happened is the parents, you know, like sort of, I guess, started, you know, to know, you know, that their language, because of the school systems, you know, was being eroded because we were putting too much emphasis on the English language, that, you know, we were forgetting our own. And of course, you know, when you have poor people, you know, living on welfare, and you had education, schools, you know, being put before you, and they said, this is what you have to do in order to, you know, to get ahead. In our own family, when we came from the residential school, we came back after 2 years, you know, without, you know, not thinking our language was that important, because, you know, they were teaching it in the residential school, and everybody had to and at the exclusion of their own language, and even, you know, the home, it wasn't. I guess, encouraged, and the parents had to go along with the school systems and all that stuff, eh? And but recently, you know, within the last, say, 20 years, you know, we've been working at this for a long time. Since I've been around in the early 60s, you know, like since I got out of school, you know, like that was one of my priorities, you know, to get it in the school systems. and to, you know, sort of make kids proud, you know, proud of, you know, where they live, where their culture, you know, what they do, you know, like I guess I was surrounded by all these things, you know, and in my own family. And just recently, one of my nephews, you know, had this family, I'm not mentioning any names, and they have decided in that family there's 6 children, boys and girls. And I guess, you know, when you're a family and you're an extended family, you know, we have no extended families today, you know, to help with all these things, eh? And that's where we learned most of our language, you know, through our extended families when we were growing up. You were involved with your grandmother, your aunts, your uncles, and they all spoke, you know, to you. And this one family, they made it a point to, you know, in their household, that they would, you know, insist that their children speak, you know, the language. There's 5 or 6 of them. And they wouldn't speak a word of English in the home. And even, you know, of course, when my family came over, you know, they were older. They come to visit once a week, you know, like, or something like that. And the grandparents insist, you know, to their children, to us, you know, the ones who had families, that's the only way you can save that language, is to do, you know, do that in the home. And they did that, and all the little children were not permitted, you know, to use the Aglacio language, you know, in their homes. And at the same time, you know, they were taught how to respect it and how to respect those people, you know, around that spoke it, especially the older people, you know, like to get practice and that. And I guess it all ends up, you know, how I sort of see this working through that family is how far it goes in terms of developing your whole self-concept. These children now, you know, are in their teen. 3 are in university. You know, they're all, you know, like in highly developed courses, and they're doing excellently. And they speak perfect Mi'kmaq and perfect English. And that's what this does, you know, a way of thinking. We had a little do here this week. I don't know if you were here. It was bringing, you know, other people in. It was Mi'kmaq History Month, and they had a sort of a little history lesson, and the people from the French community and the Scottish community, and we are 4 different cultural groups here. They were invited here, and they were given a history lesson of Waikagma, just last week. And that was really good. And, you know, it seems, you know, that there's not enough opportunity, you know, for other people to come into, you know, the reserves and to, you know, just sort of sit down with a group of people, you know, and have discussions with them, and or, you know, share, you know, their culture, or, you know, whatever it is, you know, you want to share, or what they're doing and all that. And I thought it was really good, you know, that. And they had, what do you call it? You know, they had a meal, you know, like such as the people of Waikagma would have had, you know, like, yeah, a feast. They had a feast, and it was all fish. And we had a girl who just graduated from she's a professional chef, and she is the best cook I ever had in my life. The way she makes her fish, and we had 3 different kinds of fish here, you know, for dinner. That was last week, and blueberries and raspberries, and, you know, things like that, you know, that you would have on a reserve, you know, sort of in the middle of the summer, you know, when you were that's really, I thought that was really useful, to do something like that, to invite people over, I guess it's up to us, to make sure that we share it with the world. Hey, this is what we've done, the Mi'kmaq people, of North Canada. They're still talking their language after 10,000 years of contact. They haven't lost it, and they're still doing it. And, that's what keeps, like the world together, have a group of people that, we might, like, how do you keep going in this world? Well, that's in Egis, Lewis to Dean, Egis Coca, Colony, the Oligis, we go my Mudiega. Was go to Megai, Mi'kmaq, the Lord is in Nega, Dantel gets the aim, Gisconi, aim, Modidig, Mi'kmaq, Menega on way sortige. They just always. Always is 10 years, is 10, what is it, 10,000 years? Over 10,000 years. Eugasiga is Alnoga, being my way sortige, and Yegis cook me, make my way sortige. Akasad Medish, not the little North Dadish. Akasad Moodish, not the little noise of Didi. San mo ni na midwana siawadu ni edem hanedan telil ni sorti aglasio ka kis ginamo tan tejigalok wan pemado ai tan telil ni sid yapchu aka era mo logai ap minut forti jigap tan wejda jigol ni to we go ma ni ge sadmo ka nemiga Bedelom, when I with the man, yet alone, near done on the way of digit, serial news of now. And absent.
Well, that's the guy, but you got your, to with that doctor up.